since you did mention Amy Coney Barrett again, I did want to ask you something else about that. So, like, in the event, so if Democrats had control of the Senate, and if there was a Supreme Court opening, I guess, for example, I guess we can go back to President Obama's opening with Merrick Garland.
Right.
Do you feel Democrats would have done the same thing with trying to push this through, even though it was an election year?
Well, I think the Senate Republicans have set a new standard now, and I think this is going to haunt them sometime in the future. But it's clear that when President Obama nominated Merrick Garland 9 months, by the way, before the election, no less than Lindsey Graham, who chairs the Senate Judiciary Committee, basically said, we can't do that this close to an election. And, his words are pretty clear. He said, you can hold me to this. If in 2020, we have a Republican president and there's a vacancy on the court, we should wait till after the election, and you can use my words against me. I'm almost quoting him. I don't have the exact, but it's on camera. And all of a sudden, what people say doesn't have meaning anymore. Lindsey said, well, the way Democrats treated Kavanaugh changed all that for me. That wasn't the point. The point is that we confirmed the Supreme Court justice a week before one of the most hotly contested presidential elections in our history. It seems to me the right thing to do, and that would set a precedent for all future nominations, would be to wait till after the election. And whoever, if President Trump gets reelected, he has every right to nominate her. She, from a qualification standpoint, is a qualified jurist. Nobody's disputing that. It's her ideology and what it means to a court right now that is 5-4 with some swing votes there. Sometimes it's not always 5-4 one way. Which I think is a healthy situation to a situation where this could be slanted, to the right for a generation. Justice Barrett is 48 years old. We talk about term limits for should Supreme Court judges be able to serve into their 80s and 90s? I think that's a question that really should be examined also. If people wanted to really be, political about this, they would have had, Justice Ginsburg try to retire before people knew she was sick. But we didn't do that, and President Obama wouldn't do that. But I do think that the idea that we have people on our Supreme Court that can serve for life, which means they can serve until they die, I think we're going to be taking a look at things like that, as opposed to do we add more people to the courts or things. But it's largely going to be a Senate function, not a House function, because they have the advice and consent. But there's no way to justify what they did. And to answer your question, if the shoe were on the other foot now, after what has just been done, I don't expect the Republicans should think that they're going to be treated any differently in the future now that they've set this, what I believe is a very dangerous precedent in this appointment. So we'll see. I do think that Justice Barrett should recuse herself from any election night challenges. That there are going to be challenges when these votes are counted. You just know it's going to happen, and for her to make any decisions on this election when she was appointed by the president whose party will be filing these objections, 7 days before an election, when the president has said we need to get her on the bench, we need to have this extra vote on the bench for challenges. He's come right out and said it. She hasn't said it, but he said it. That he basically thinks that, he's putting someone on the bench that will side with him if they have challenges. She definitely should recuse herself. And if she doesn't, I think it's going to be very damaging for the country. We're a divided country as it is right now. And boy, I tell you, if this is another Bush versus Gore kind of decision coming up, I don't think the Supreme Court should decide who the president is. I think the people should. And any valid vote that's cast before Election Day should be counted. The idea that we have states and parties going to court trying to disenfranchise legally cast ballots that were cast before November 3rd because they somehow arrive late because of the post office is outrageous. Every legitimate vote should be counted, and that's the only way the American people are going to have confidence in the outcome.
Yeah, now the state of our country is something I would like to get to later, but I kind of want to go back with I'm talking about the Supreme Court once again. So, but do you think it would be unethical for like the Democrats to maybe have like some sort of revenge if anything like this situation with Amy Coney Barrett would happen in the future and things would be on the other side of the aisle?
Well, I don't look at it as revenge. I think, precedents get set on how things are done, right? And while many of these aren't written in statute, they've been done because there's been a general agreement that there's certain things you do and don't do as it comes. I think it'd be pretty hypocritical for Republicans to say, well, I know we did this to you guys, but I sure hope you don't do it to us. It's not so much that it's a revenge, it's that they've set a precedent as this is now how the Senate acts, that apparently appointing someone close to a presidential election is not a problem anymore. It's not taboo. It's not something that we've just over history never have done that way. So I think it's more like you set precedents, right, than it is that it's a revenge factor. I mean, some presidents serve and never get to appoint a Supreme Court justice. There's just no vacancies during their terms. And then here's a president, a sitting president, who's only been in office, 3.5 or so more years, and he's gotten to appoint 3. A lot of it is just the timing of this, the situation, and then precedents get set. And Merrick Garland set a precedent. The Republicans said, no, we're not appointing judges this close to a presidential election. We're just not going to do that. And they had to withdraw his nomination. He couldn't get a vote in the Senate. That was a precedent that was set. And so here we are, 4 years later, and all of a sudden that precedent gets thrown out the window. So now a new precedent has been set, right? And so that's the way I look at it. It's not a revenge thing. It's sort of what the rules used to be aren't the rules anymore. Mitch has set a new set of rules. So, when you set the rules, you have to live by them.